All right, well, let's push on now because we have to talk about the goal that never was, that we're still talking about. Yes, indeed. Remember that Callum Wilson thought he had rescued a point for West Ham up against Arsenal in the 5th minute of stoppage time. Unfortunately for him, though, VAR intervened, disallowed the goal because of a foul on David Raya. Now, we all know that the full conversation from VAR has been published. Everybody sat down and listened to every second of the 5-minute conversation. So now, Jan, what did you think of it?
Well, I was at the game. I was working, and I was sitting next to the Arsenal people, the communication guys and girls down there, and you can imagine the emotions that were going all over the place at the London Stadium. What is interesting is that VAR, we can discuss it all the way, and there is so many examples that hasn't been given. I think we have to be quite clear. It was a free kick. It was a free kick on the goalkeeper. And I think that what people doesn't accept is the lack of consistency. I mean, that is the main thing. I mean, wrong decisions can happen. The interesting thing on the pitch, and after the game, when I was finished, I interviewed Arteta, and he was full of emotions. And I got outside, and I was thinking of the thing that if it's a clear and obvious on-field decision. So we have to change that, but it's quite easy. As a graph, it's quite easy. As longer it goes, for every 10 seconds, 20 seconds, half a minute, 2 minutes, it's getting less and less clear and obvious, isn't it? And I think that is the main thing here, because if it's clear and obvious, just sort it out. Although I know it's easy to jump on the train to say VAR is this and the officials are that. But you also do understand that it's a big decision to be made, because the VAR people can read a table too. They know that this decision that they had to make was unbelievable. And the West Ham players, I was standing there in the tunnel when the West Ham players came in and the referee came in. Let's put it this way. I'm not allowed to say everything they said on this show, so I won't say that. But the main thing for them, for the West Ham players, they were like throwing out examples during these seasons that they've been given against them. So why should it now not go for us, you know? So they were like furious about this. And so is this inconsistency? Is it possible to make it consistent? I'm not sure. I mean, we've been a lot around in football, and the consistency is one of the hardest things to get in football, and especially football, but a lot of sports.
Stevie, now that you listen to it as well, what do you make of it?
Well, it's no surprise that the head of the referees union backs his men. You know, all he talked about was the foul on the goalkeeper. How it was the main foul. How it was the one that concerned.
But what did you think of the VAR conversation that was going on?
You know, it's very difficult to make head nor tail of it almost feels like nobody's in charge of it. It's almost like they're all throwing ideas out.
Yeah.
And who's going to come up with the answer? Now, clearly, at the end of the day, the referee did. But I wish they wouldn't. And listen, as a coach, I had to deal with referees and not adjudicators, but the people in charge of the referees on a Monday morning coming out with some nonsense that backs the man.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're going to get. As soon as the referee makes the final decision and the game's over, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to back him up. On the very, very odd occasion where they say, oh, we got it wrong, but 99 times out of 100, they back the referee up. And so, to be honest, when I'm listening to referees talking, I'm listening to Howard Ware with the explanation, I very rarely listen to it very deeply, because you can tell yourself, your own eyes don't lie to you. They want to back the referee up by saying it's a foul on the goalie, that it is, but they don't want to talk about the free kick on Pablo, who fouled the goalie, which, in my opinion, would lead up to him fouling the goalkeeper. So don't try and tell me which one's more important.
Yeah, and that, I think, what you just said there at the end, Stevie, I think is the most important part of that. From that conversation, you get the sense that the VAR officials that are talking to each other, and then from the explanation from Howard Webb, their priority was focusing on the arm on Raya. And that was the foul that they wanted to put in front of the referee, the on-field official. And there was a hint sort of a tinge, a touch of saying, hey, but what's going on around? And it was almost as if like, nothing to see here, nothing to see. Yes, the tone was very much of, don't focus on that so much, focus on this. And that is the part that I'm kind of like, wait a minute.
What can we all agree on?
Yes, because if you look at the play and you start evaluating, my assessment would be, if I had been the on-field official, is, as I'm addressing the crowd, is, look, yeah, there is a foul on David Raya. No question about that. So we're not even going to look at Declan Rice. Foul on David Raya. But before then, Leandro Trossard was hugging Pablo. So while that's a foul here, that's a foul there too. No goal, but there is a penalty in favor of West Ham. And then that would have created some drama, but we didn't get there. That would have been my assessment, because that's what my eyes told me. But it felt like they were so focused on the arm across Raya that they didn't think anything else was important enough. And that, I think, is concerning, because you can't just grab people like this and dictate that doesn't impact the play. Of course it does. It impacts how Pablo is able to jump. So has he been impeded? Yes. Just the same way that he impeded David Raya, Pablo was also impeded. But that wasn't nearly as important as the foul on Raya. That's the part that I have an issue with.
Well, of course, that disallowed goal set West Ham back in their fight for survival, because they're now still 2 points behind Tottenham Hotspur. Believe it or not, Spurs still not 100% safe, but I suppose momentum, we can say, is swinging in their favor. Jan, when we talk about the relegation battle, who do you see going down?
I think that West Ham will go down. I think that David Moyes, in the last game of the season, the former successful West Ham manager, won't help them enough. I think that De Zerbi has managed to make Tottenham look like a football team. So I think that that's advantage Spurs, and I think they will save themselves.
You guys agree?
Well, Spurs will get a point at Chelsea, and that means Newcastle will beat West Ham and Newcastle. That means it's over. Because the goal difference is too big.
Yeah.
So I don't see any way how West Ham stay up. I don't see it at all.
It's also hard to picture emotionally West Ham getting up from what had to have been the excitement of tying the game late, thinking that you have done it, and then you haven't done it, and now you feel as if though things are getting away from you. And it's not just that Spurs win a game, it's also the fact that you don't seem to be getting the breaks. And emotionally, that does something to a team. And here's the other reality. They're not very good. Yep. And that's the most powerful reality. Bottom line, they're not very good. I don't see them winning their last two games.
Maybe they need our Xhaka Hissop back in between the sticks. We'll see if that helps. All right, well, as we said, Manchester City...
The current version of Xhaka?
have bigger fish to fry this weekend as they go up against Chelsea in the FA Cup final at Wembley. We've sent Dan and Craig over there to cause some trouble. Make sure to tune in Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, but the pre-show starts an hour earlier on ESPN 2.